All right. Let me look at my notes. I'll share my screen. All right. As always, let me know if I get super laggy or anything so I can slow down. All right, so Trail's in the Discord. That's good. Yeah, I am. Okay. All right, that's good. All right. So in a little bit, remind me. We'll try to get Trail up to date on this class project we're working on because I don't know. I don't remember the last time he was. How long has it been, Cottrell? Not long. Okay, well, it's been long enough that you don't have your. Do you see this document I'm looking at? You haven't signed up for a level in our project, so have you seen? Are you aware that we are doing that? So you'll need to. I'm seeing it and I'm going to sign it. All right, you need to coordinate with everybody else because what we have here is now a. You'll see this level progression thing, right? Yours will need to fit in that somehow, right? Somebody chiming in. All right. Anyway. Blaine's here. I see. But anyway, the Discord channel is so that y'all can communicate outside of these classes and kind of coordinate what you're doing. As you see, we have a 1 through 6, levels 1 through 6 already kind of laid out. So either we need to stick you somewhere in there or have your content be like an extra bonus level that's hidden somehow, which we talked about before. I'm going to let y'all figure that out, right? So, Cottrell, from this point on, you need to be communicative with your classmates because they're going to be dependent on that. All right. Okay, so you'll see this up here. We'll get to that in a second because that is the one of the assignments, right? We're going to go through chapter 7 as I talked about, and there's a forum called Reward and Payoff. And here I want you to give an extensive example of investment and payoff that you have experienced in your game playing experience. Put the name of the game you were referencing in the post title because everyone must pick a different example. First come, first serve. So read through each of the titles to make sure that you are submitting something original. All right. That doesn't make sense yet. Then hopefully after we look through the chapter, it will. Also, you're going to contribute to the Time Runner Rewards Brainstorm, right? So we've started creating these levels. We have a progression, right? Now we need to think of rewards that the players can have. Well, we've already designated a couple, right? The coins, I think, and the trophies, right? But rewards can be simple things also, right? It doesn't have to be these major things. Rewards can be as simple as the sound that's made when you pick up a coin, right? This feedback, there's a feedback loop, and we'll talk about that as well, right? So we're to the point where we need to start talking about what we're going to do to make this game more engaging, right? All right, so reward systems. All right, so has anyone ever heard of the phrase the carrot or the stick? What does that mean if you hear the carrot or the stick? Has anyone heard it before? Motivation. Yes, what is that? It does regard motivation. What do they represent? Yes, like a punishment. Yeah, like a punishment. Yes, getting slapped with the ruler. Yes, exactly. Right. So, reward systems deal with that, right? And games have both kind of systems, right? If you get first place in a race, right, you get the trophy, right? If you run off the bridge, you go in the water and you die, right? There's the carrot and the stick, right? So this chapter is dealing with that, right? And he just, I'm not going to read it for you because there's a lot here, right? But you should read the book because it is a useful book. And he has a lot of detail that I think is useful. But given that I have some administrative lovely tasks to do, I'm certainly not going to read to you today, right? But he talks about the fact that it's a carrot or stick, right? Carrots are the norm, right? If there's only carrots, there's nothing special about them, right? And if the stick is the only thing available, it doesn't have any motivating power. You just get so used to being beaten by it, and you know there's nothing else in the world. It's like it just comes passe, right? I'm getting beaten again, whatever, right? If you work somewhere where your boss only screams at you and never praises your achievements, chances are that you'll leave, right? If you're a runner and never lose a race, there's not much incentive to train to become even faster, right? However, there's a third way. If somebody who is holding all the carrots beats you with a stick, it would be very satisfying if you were to wrestle the stick away from your tormentor and make him give you all the carrots, right? Anyway, the idea here is there's a fundamental principle, reward systems, and positive and negative motivators, right? All right. And he goes into some depth here, right? So these are the concepts that game developers will talk about sometimes if you get them in a conference or whatever, right? Talks about reward systems in schools of behaviorism, right? How do people react to rewards and punishment, right? Then escapism and wish fulfillment, right? What is escapism? These terms, we're not going to go into depth of these terms, but you should definitely know these terms, right? So notes. What is escapism? What does it sound like? Escapism. Or what's the root word? Escape, yes. All right. All right. So, what is escapism? The desire to escape, right? The desire to get away from the everyday life, right? And you see this everywhere, right? Because reality is broken, right? And life can be just not enjoyable sometimes, right? And there's hope, but the entertainment industry is all about this, right? And now games, video games specifically, are the largest segment of the industry. So escapism is a huge part of what we do as game developers. And wish fulfillment is just that, right? A lot of games are based on, hey, I want to be Spider-Man, so they create a game that lets you be Spider-Man, right? So that is kind of self-explanatory, right? And he goes into details like there are many reasons why we turn to art or entertainment, right? Enlightenment to expand boundaries, quest for alternative point of view. Sometimes all we need is a certain amount of wish fulfillment, sometimes referred as escapism. I would say that's probably the largest reason we do it, right? We do it as a way of getting away from the everyday issues that we have in our life, right? And here you hear people ridiculing like books or something. Like that book is just an escapist fantasy, or the movie has nothing to offer but flights of fantasy and empty wish fulfillment, right? But the author takes great exception to the playing off of escapism as being useless, right? In that we all have issues that we'd like to get away from, and it's very useful to be able to have that outlet, right? And he points out it's like nobody would criticize a person for going on a long walk in the countryside or reading a travelogue, right? There are no problems with somebody listening to music from another country and in the process being transported there. Who begrudges somebody reading Tolkien's The Hobbit? Tolkien himself had the following to say on the exact same subject, right? And this quote is great. You should read it. I'm not going to read it to you, but you should definitely read it. Right? In fact, I'll highlight it right here. I'll even put it in our notes just so you make sure to read it. Has anybody read any Tolkien? Of course. The two that I would expect to have read it did in fact read it. Yes. All right. Yes. Most people that played a lot of Dungeons and Dragons have at some point read Tolkien, right? So, yeah. And honestly, if you're going to create fantasy, right, you should have read Tolkien's work, right? Because it's kind of he kind of birthed the genre almost, really. I mean, he was definitely the forefront of it, right? And the master. All right, so you should definitely read that and read that quote there, right? Because he has much to say about escapism and its usefulness, actually. So that's good. All right. So the author says, the fact of the matter is that sometimes the here and now is not a desirable place to be and can be punishing, in that we can reward ourselves by engaging in creative expressions that recognize this and provide an alternative. Right? As a way of taunting the world by saying, you can't touch me while I'm here. It's kind of cool. All right. Submission and release. Right? What does it mean to submit to something? Submission. To agree or obey, to listen. Yes. Basically, it's surrendering, you're surrendering, right? Some or all of your power, right? Right. Anytime you, let's see, if you enter a public building, right? You're often asked to, like, you can't bring a gun in there, right? There's some gun, they'll scan you for weapons, right? Possibly like outside beverages or something. Like if you go to a concert, right? You are submitting to their rules, right? You're giving some of your freedom away, right? Because yes, we have the right to bear arms, but if you go to a public place that doesn't want guns in there, you're agreeing to that. You have submitted to their rules, right? So submission just means you're surrendering some or all of your power or your freedoms, right? But in games, we do this kind of willingly because we know from that we get something back from it, right? As he said, relinquish control over a situation, right? So you give up, right? This occurs when we decide that somebody's able to teach us or help us in some way, and we were told. When you go to school, you submit to outside pressures, right? You're here logging into this WebEx thing, which I'm so tired of doing WebEx. But anyway, it's better than nothing, right? But you are here because you have agreed that you would be, right? And hopefully you get something out of it, right? Since we're not naturally submissive, right? There are, of course, many times when people espouse group mentality, but that is not what we are discussing right now. This is about people willingly, in exchange for some kind of reward, submit to others, or at least take somebody else's lead, right? And there's many examples of that, right? Consensual temporary submission, right? Here we're talking about consensual submission not being driven down and forced to submit, right? We're not interested in that, and game development has nothing to do with that. So he kind of just says, yes, we are talking about consensual submission, right? Challenge and empowerment, right? It is often asserted that hard work rewards itself, not just in a sense of achievement, but also in more practical ways, right? There are positive challenges and there are negative challenges, right? Positive challenge would be something like if you exercise every day, you become fit, right? You study a language diligently for 10 years, you become fluid, etc., right? And there are negative challenges, right? Stand up to that bully and he will stop harassing you. Deal with the tragedy of a loss for a long enough time, it will hurt less and less. Resist smoking for a year and your cravings will be gone, right? Point here is that life is full of challenges, and meeting them, right, and beating those challenges leads to a sense of what we call empowerment, right? And as he says, the word's kind of overused nowadays. Everything's empowering, right? But it's still it's a real thing, and if you can bring that feeling to somebody playing your game, you're doing a powerful thing, right? And they will want to play that game over and over again, right? So this is one of those cases where psychology meets game development, and you may think it's kind of silly, but the big players don't, right? I guarantee you the BioWare and Electronic EA have people on staff that are delving into this at all times, right? Trying to figure a way of keying into those psychological realms to better engage the player, right? Anyway, fairness, right? So empowerment and challenge only work when people are treated fairly, right? To put our cynical hat back on, life isn't always fair, right? Unfairness is a form of disempowerment, and it should never be underestimated how much of a negative impact this can have. He states this because you want to make your game seem fair, right? One of the whole reasons people play games is that the rules are understood, and especially video games, because the rules are being arbitrated by an artificial judge, right? So that they know that it's not somebody. If something happens that's negative, it's not somebody picking on them, right? It's not a bully. As long as the rules seem fair, they're generally not going to be upset with it. Not at the system itself, anyway, if that makes sense. All right. So one of the purposes of video games is to make it seem like it's a fair challenge, and so that when even if the player does lose, they don't feel like they've been cheated somehow, right? Investment and payoff, and this refers to the assignment, right? So related to the expectation of fairness is a reward system which has its roots in financial principles, right? When we put our money in the bank, we expect to receive interest payments as a reward for letting the bank hold it. If we invest in a company through buying shares or in some other way, we expect a return on our investment in the form of profitable payout, right? These examples are purely financial nature, but the principle is equally recognizable in other areas. For example, we can invest time into something and expect something in return, or we can invest effort to expect some kind of result. This can overlap with the principle of empowerment, but it doesn't have to. For example, we can invest time and effort to solve a difficult cryptic puzzle, which yields a reward in providing a satisfying answer. Large investments offer the expectation of large rewards. Scientists may dedicate his or her entire life to find a cure to a particular disease or another scientific problem. Although it might not necessarily be unfair, it would be unfortunate if these investments went without rewards. Sometimes the rewards are immediate, or sometimes the rewards arrive over time, or it is reached after sustained effort or investment. Sometimes both can occur within the same activity, right? All right, and here we have an example. I'm going to let you read this because this is part of the assignment, right? So for the assignment, I want you to read this example, right? And then I want you to, we'll look over the assignment here real quick. Yep. Do that. All right, so give an extensive example of investment and payoff that you have experienced in your game playing experience. I'm sorry, just now seeing that's why some people like Doom. Yes. All right. Put the name of the game you're referencing the post title, because everyone must pick a different example. First come, first serve. All right. So this is the example I was talking about, right? Read it. Get a good idea what it's talking about, right? And then I want you to come up with your own example of how you played a game and what was invested and the payoff you got out of that game, right? Any questions about that? Make sure. Yes, it's a long chapter, so we won't get through all of it today because it is like a 40-page chapter, right? It's one of the longer chapters in the book, in fact. Wait, am I right? All right, so isolation and social reinforcement. I'm actually going to stop in the book right now because we've got up to the point where we have that's related to the assignment. All right, so we'll pick up. Let's see, 102. I'm gonna make a note of that. So we'll pick up next week. Pick up at page 102. Social. So what was that? Isolation. Social reinforce. All right. Okay, so that was a good 30 minutes of kind of reading to you. Okay, so let's look at what we're doing here. Do that. What do I need to do now? How's the work coming on the levels? Anybody? I haven't looked to see if anybody's done anything here. Let's see, levels. There's 2 packages there. Are those both mine? Yes. All right. All right. So that's less than awesome, right? All right. So how's the work coming on the levels? Anybody like have anything they want to show that's awesome? All right, man. Let's say by next week, right? I would like to see where these levels stand. So, next week, let's be prepared to, show off your level, kind of show us what's going on with it and how well it's going, right? And let's plan to do that. Cool. Did you want to show it? Sure. Let me stop sharing so that you can. Right. No, that's fine. Let me think. Yeah, Brian. Let me see. Don't know if I can do this without showing you. What exactly is the running panel and the first person move? I guess it stands for. But what are those 2 objects exactly? There's a reference in your file, but okay. Okay. One of the things I just wondered why you decided to do it this way. Because it appears, if I'm not mistaken, that those 2 objects are only true when the game state is playing. Is that right? Is there a reason you didn't just make them children of the in-game panel, and then they would have been tied to it, and they would have been set to true automatically? Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like it's a maintenance headache when you don't do that. Because I mean, you're putting two extra objects in the game state that really could have been, if they were children of the in-game panel, they wouldn't even need to be in there. I mean, yeah, just a observation. I think there was something else. So what is the first per move anyway? Uh huh. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yes. Yes. I mean, I agree that that's probably something you want to do. I don't know. Can the first person, if you just disable this first person look script, would it do the same thing? Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, those are just two observations that kind of small little details. Anyway, that's cool. Other than that, I didn't have any questions. I don't think. Good idea. Um, by updated in the game manager, what do you mean? Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Those are very good questions, and there definitely needs to be sound, right? And I would think music. How you want to deal with that is up to y'all. I'm not going to dictate that necessarily. I don't mind creating music. It's kind of one of those things I do. So, I mean, and I can help organize how it's put in the game. Um, what are your thoughts on theme music? Where did you get the music that you're using? Okay, gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, we need to enumerate all the sounds we need, right? So, and I'll let y'all, hammer that out. nobody's actually in the notes document for some reason, but I'm in the notes document right now. And so what do you? I mean, y'all want to? Let's see. You got to. All right, Charles. That's cool. All right. I mean, do y'all want to discuss that now, or y'all want to do that in your Discord channel later? Right. If y'all come up with an idea for what you want the music to sound like, I can, as long as it's descriptive enough, I can write something to that. And you know, the sound can change as the level progresses, right? There could be different music for winning, losing, all that sort of thing, right? It just needs to be determine what you need and then created, right? If that makes. I mean, that's a good question, right? Should the music be affected by the environment, right? And it can be, or it could be all the same, right? What do y'all think? Do y'all have a preference? Anybody? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Katie's idea of like making it less complicated is certainly always good. It's always a good route to choose when you're talking about student projects and actually getting it done, right? So I'm down with that. But Emma's idea is also cool. It says, might be stretched, but cool if we had a simple track within each level, add a new instrument, and by the end, it's a really cool theme. And I like that idea too. And I can work on something like that. It's kind of an additive thing, right? Layered. And if y'all don't mind, I can try to work up something and see. I mean, I'm thinking kind of John Williams, you know, Star Wars-ish kind of thing, you know, because we're kind of stealing Star Wars ideas, so why not? All right. All right. Well, I'll do my best, man. I can't promise. But yeah, we'll try that. And I like Emma's idea, so I'm gonna attempt to do that. There's a thing called anybody ever heard of adaptive audio? We'll look it up, right? And it's something that I've been wanting to create. there's several adaptive audio systems out there. I've wanted to create my own, and I've started work on it, but for one reason or the other, I get derailed. But maybe I can get back on that train again, right? Like How the Devil May Cry works with battle themes. I haven't played that, but very possibly. I mean, there's a lot of examples out there, right? It's very much like Minecraft, right? You ever notice how if you dig in and you open up a big chasm, and this is for Minecraft players, but like you open up a big cave, the music will change, right? That's adaptive audio. Adaptive audio can be a many different things, but it, in its simplest form, it means the audio changes to adapt to what's going on in the game, right? And that's not really what we're talking about with the kind of additive themes, but it could be, right? When the battle music starts playing and you don't see the boss, yeah, that would be a bug. But that is what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah. Oh, it's just behind you. I got you. So it is hinting that it's there. Nice. Yes, it's exactly that. Yes. Um, and I think there's still room for improve. Adaptive audio is very interesting to me. So, being a game developer and a musician, it's something that I've wanted to delve into for a while. So I'm going to try to do that. And let's see. All right. So your two assignments are reward and what was it? Rewards and payoff, right? And what was it? The forum. The forum and the class brainstorm, right? So the brainstorm is in the class project brainstorm. Put your ideas along with your name on stuff we can do in the game that would reward the player for different things. All right, so Blaine had his level or something he was going to show, wasn't you? You still there? All right, are you ready? All right, let's check it out. Cool. It is. Cool. That's cool. Okay. Okay. No, I got you. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, we would put cheats in so you can like yeah. I need to make note to myself here. How to add cheats right next week. Yeah, well, that'll do it. Oh, I got you. Gotcha. Cool. I like the look. I like the look and feel, man. Yeah, definitely got to work in some cheats. What I would suggest is just having a number of waypoints that up to 10, and they could just be mapped to the 1 to 0 buttons, right? And you could just, if you click 1, it takes you to the first waypoint and so forth. And that way, and that would work for any level. You could all do that, right? And that would be very helpful in testing and just showing off your level, right? To be able to do that, because certainly for my sake, because I'm a gamer, but certain genres only, really. So that would be really hard for me to get through, probably. Yeah. But it looks good, man. I dig it. So cool. Yeah. Well, I mean that could be it doesn't have to be a minute, right? So I mean, the minute's not hard and fast rule. I think. Because didn't we say it was going to be like an artificial best time of some person that played it before or something? Yeah. So, I mean, I think exactly a minute would be kind of overly artificial anyway. Um, so I think through play testing and gauging how much time it takes different people to play it, we come up with a reasonable time for each of these levels. You know. All right. Yeah, we definitely, if we're going to have running, that everybody needs to have running, right? So sprinting, yeah, sprinting in all levels, right? We gotta, yeah, sure, sure. No. Okay. Oh, nice. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Is that something we're going to have in all the levels? Because it seems like something that would be odd if you only had it in one level. Okay. Okay. So what do y'all think? Should we have that in every level? Is that what the yeah? That would be great. Yeah, Emma said, "I wish we could implement a universal character controller because I might think that yes, it would definitely make the game more consistent." Yes. So if everybody's on board, right? I mean, I think is everybody cool with Brian's how his player is working? We could just have you shared that code with us, Brian, or is that okay? Yes, do that, and everybody grab his player controller, and that way, yeah, we can have consistency across the levels. The sooner we do that, the better, I think. Yeah, that would be cool. All right. Well, does anybody else have a level they want to share, or are you still working? You should definitely share. I would definitely share all the traps yeah, just in case, yeah, and let them know that they're there, yeah. Yep. All right. So is it clear what we're doing now? Everybody, any questions? Well, I'm working on it in the sense that I need to do it, but have I actually done it? No. In fact, yes. Let me make another note to myself. Work on the automatic door height. Me. All right. Yeah, I need to do that. Just I don't know. Every week seems like another week of just crazy, but yeah, I still need to do that. Yep, and I will. All right. Anything else? If there's nothing else, you are good to go and free to go. But email me with any questions and or concerns. And Contrell, if you have some issues, man, let me know because you got some catching up to do. I think so. All right, but y'all have a good one. Yep.